No sound? Hello, everybody. Sunday Adelaja here. I am here to continue the teaching that we are doing this week on leadership, self-leadership to be precise. So the topic of today is self-leadership equals foresight. Self-leadership equals foresight. Self-leadership equals foresight. Please go and share this message with your friends and family members. Go and invite as many people as you can. Go and tag your friends. Go and tag as many people as possible. So self-leadership equals foresight. Foresight is so important in leadership that it cannot be underemphasized or overemphasized. Self-leadership is so important that that's the main thing that separates a leader from a follower. Self-leadership is, foresight is, especially in the art of self-leadership, foresight is so important that that is how you know who is a leader in the pack. If you see a pack of men or people or a group of people and you want to find out who is a leader there, just see who sees ahead of others. So that's what foresight gives you. Foresight gives you the ability to see ahead of others or to see further than others. So foresight is the key ingredient that a leader must possess. Foresight is your edge. Foresight is the edge for the leader. Foresight is that thing that gives you the understanding of things that people around you don't understand. Foresight is what gives you the ability to see situations in a unique way while others are seeing it in the traditional way. Sometimes a leader is often misunderstood because that's just what a leader is supposed to be. A leader is misunderstood because he has foresight. The reason why most people misunderstand a leader is because a leader sees what the rest of the people are not yet seeing right now. And if you want to go by majority, the majority will always be against the leader. The leader will never be in the majority because he is seeing something different from other people. The mediocres who see just like many people see, they are the ones that will take the day if we are going to go by majority carries the vote. So, but a leader will always be in the minority. A leader will always be in the minority because it goes ahead of others. A leader will always be in the minority because he is seeing further than others. So if he's telling others what he is seeing and they are not seeing the same thing that he is seeing, they will have the tendency to argue with him or to say it's not right because he's seeing something that others are not matured enough to see or they have not gone closer enough to see. So, but that is not a disadvantage. That is actually his greatest edge, his greatest advantage. The ability to see what others are not seeing, the ability to see further than what others are seeing, the ability to be able to lead others to where they have not yet been. So a leader will always, in his mind and his understanding, go further and see further and understand deeper than most people see. That is what a leader is. So, but that is not enough to be a leader. That is just one of the qualities that a leader must have. And that is one of the most primary and fundamental abilities that a leader has. Because the alternative is for a leader to be waiting for events to push him to act. And that shows lack of foresight. When you wait for events to always be pushing you to act, or you are only jumping after the events that happen, you're only trying to fix the things that happen, then you're going to be a bad leader, and you're going to, you're going to lead. I mean, things are going to fall apart. Things are going to be scattered because you are following the events. The events leads to chaos, and when the events are going ahead of you, that is a remedy. That is a sign of chaos. That's a sign of things falling apart. So if when a leader loses that edge and the advantage to see ahead of things, he loses his leadership. He ceases to be a leader because events shouldn't be leading you. Situations shouldn't be leading you. And of course, I know that a leader cannot be, it's not God. He cannot see everything. He cannot understand everything. That's why he has a team. That's why there are people around him who see things, different things, because they are more positioned. But what we are talking about here in time of foresight is in the general direction of the vision, is in general leadership. But, okay, for example, if I'm a leader and I'm here in my house and you are there in the church and you are relating with some people, so you know those people's character and you know what they will probably do. So when they perform like that and they do the things that you had expected them to do, and then we say, but the leader didn't see that guy, that it was like that. Of course, we can understand that because you are the one that knows the other person from that perspective, because you've been relating with him, you've been in fellowship with him, and the leader was not in fellowship with him, so he didn't know him to know that he would behave that way. So that is different. But we are talking about, vision in general, direction of life in general. That is the kind of foresight we are talking about. So we cannot expect the leader to see everything ahead of things, of time. Even if he's a prophet, he cannot see everything all the time, ahead before they happen. There are just situations when he's not positioned to see, when he doesn't know what is happening. For example, some people could say, but if he's a leader, how can somebody close to you betray you? Or how can somebody in your team leave you or do the opposite of what you are teaching, and you as a leader didn't see that? Well, the leader might not see that because most people, when they come around their leaders, they behave as if they are perfect. They behave as if they agree with the leader. They behave as if they are on the same page with the leader. So most people, pretend when they are with the leader. So the leader doesn't normally see the real life or the real picture of the people that are around him, because when they are around him, they always play the game, the hypocrisy game. So in that case, you cannot blame the leader for not seeing some things coming, because it's most likely that they were pretending before him. But you, who is a friend or who is closer or who is a bystander, you could see better that, that person is playing games. But the leader will always try to give benefit of a doubt. And because the leader is giving benefit of a doubt, he will not always suspect people. So he will always look for the better things and positive information to say about everybody. So that's often why a leader might not see things coming, especially negative things in behavior of people. So, but that's not what we are talking about when we talk about foresight. When we talk about foresight, we are talking about the ability to see ahead in terms of vision, in terms of future, in terms of direction, in terms of what to do, strategy, tactics. Those are the kind of things that we are talking about. So foresight is the lead, is the edge that a leader has, and that is the edge that he uses to lead other people to follow him. So let me kind of try to illustrate foresight for you. If two of us or three of us or a group of us are standing here and we need to go somewhere, and we are not, nobody sees the road, there is no road, no direction, but all of a sudden one of us says, I see the road here, look at the road, and you are not seeing it, but he is seeing it and he's even describing it to you. then it makes sense that, okay, he is the one that should follow the road because he is saying it. So go ahead, I will follow you. Or maybe you see there are 2, 3, 4 roads and that are before you. But the leader, who is a leader? The leader is the one who says, oh, I know where that road leads to. I know where we will get to when, if we follow it. But the other one doesn't know. He's thinking maybe we should follow this or follow this or follow this. Not sure. Well, foresight is the ability to see where that road will take you. So when you see the end of the road, where the road will take you, that it will take you to the destination that you want, that is foresight. And the same thing with life. Unfortunately, in real life, though, it's not so cut and clear, like I just said, with the example of the road. In real life, we people are largely deceived. We are largely deceived because we have been taught that eyes equals sight. And most people actually think that eyes equals sight. And since we are people who relate to life through our 5 senses, it's only natural for you to believe your sight. It's only to believe your eyes. It's only natural for you to believe that, yes, through my eyes I see, and my eyes give me sight. And the downfall of that and the disadvantage of that is that you begin to over-rely on what you see with your eyes, and you begin to trust your eyes as the instrument or the means by which you see. So if you over-rely on the capacity of your eyes to see, then you will downplay any other suggestion that sight actually belongs not to the eyes but somewhere else. You will not believe it because you are getting your sight from your eyes. So you believe that sight only comes from eyes. In the real sense, eyes are supposed to give you, eyes are not supposed to, the thing that eyes give you is not sight. With our eyes, we look. We look. So what the eyes allows you to see is the things that are obvious. While sight is supposed to be the ability to see things that are not tangible, that are not obvious. But if you rely on the eyes all the time, you will come to the conclusion that eyes is only for seeing, and seeing is only possible to see things that are obvious. That is what the difference between looking and seeing. Because when you look, you see, but you see only things that are obvious, that are visible. But when we talk about sight, it goes beyond the things that are visible. The ability to look is what the eyes does, but the ability to see belongs to the mind. When I look, I see this because it's visible. But you see, this my hand, if you look at it, this is what I see. When I look like this, I see here. I see my thumb, my big thumb here, but I don't see my fingers. You see, my eyes are not seeing my fingers. They are not seeing my fingers this way. And if I do this, you are not seeing my fingers too. But it takes the eye of your mind, your insight, your sight, to know that if I'm holding this handkerchief like this, and you are seeing this hand, then definitely my finger, you are seeing my thumb, definitely there are some fingers, 4 fingers behind this handkerchief that you are not seeing. So even though you are not seeing the handkerchief, you are not seeing my fingers, my 4 fingers, you are only seeing my thumb and the handkerchief. That is the difference between eyes and sight. So the eyes gives you the information about the handkerchief that you are seeing and my thumb. But your sight, your insight, your inner eyes gives you understanding that there are 4 fingers behind, even though you are not seeing them with your eyes. So that is like a picture, a little illustration, and a primitive illustration of what is the difference between eyes and sight. So let me go to another description. How do the blind people see? How do the blind people see? Or you think blind people don't see? They do see. So how do they see? Because they don't have eyes. If they don't have eyes, does that equal that they don't see? They actually see, but they see through sight. So let's try to experiment to ourselves how blind people see. I am talking to you now. Can you try to close your eyes? If you close your eyes and I'm still talking, and your eyes are no more seeing me because you have closed your eyes, but for some reasons you will know that someone is talking because you have ears. But not just that someone is talking, you know Pastor Sunday is the one talking, even though you are not seeing me. But also you can imagine me sitting down there and in front of your screen talking to you. So you are actually seeing me, even though your eyes are closed. You are seeing me in your mind. That is what sight does, and that is how blind people see. So blind people actually, to a large extent, have superiority, advantage over people with the eyes who are not blind. So what are the advantages of the blind over people who see, who have eyes? Because they have been delivered, people who are blind have been delivered from the deception of physical eyes. They only rely on sight. And the most important thing in life is not physical eyes, it's sight. Because physical eyes will only help you to get by physically, to know what is where. But sight will take you further, will not just help you to get by physically, but it will help you to be creative and to make something out of life. Because one thing that could be worse than being born blind, as most of us who have eyes think that people who are blind are disadvantaged, or if you are born blind, that you are not lucky, you are disadvantaged, you are impaired, you are disabled. Well, there's a greater disablement that we are all living in every day. And that disablement is the disablement of sight. That is the only thing that is worse than being born blind or being blind at all is that you have eyes but without sight. That means that the only thing you are seeing all through your life is things that are obvious, things that are that you see. It means that you don't have the mental capacity to make conclusions. It means that you don't have the mental capacity to calculate, think critically, or think strategically. It means that you are not you don't have the ability to use your inner sight, inner eyes, and put one and one together, one and two together, and be able to reach a conclusion. And that is how most people live today. Most people have eyes, but they don't have sight. They have eyes, but they don't have vision. Let me show you an example what that means. For example, I am in Ukraine here, but I am talking about Nigeria, and I'm dreaming of going to Nigeria to make a difference. And I'm saying, by the time I get to Nigeria, the next 10 years, the country will be different. And I'm coming up with programs, projects, sitting down, coming with ideas of how to resolve the problem of crime, poverty, this and this. What is doing that? Is it my eyes? I'm not even there. I don't even see what's happening there. Because a lot of people come on my page all the time and say, but you are still in Europe. You don't know anything. How can you be in Europe and you're telling us what to do? We are the ones here. You see, they are not seeing what I'm seeing. They are seeing what is obvious. They are seeing the pain, the poverty, the austerity, the expensive things. They are having eyes. So the same thing with ears. The same thing with all the five organs of feeling. They are seeing the obvious, the thing that could touch them, that they could feel. But I am not even feeling the hunger they are feeling. I'm not even feeling lack of electricity because I'm not there. I'm not even experiencing it. I'm not seeing it. Oh, they say, oh, come and see. You have to come and see. That is primitive. To come and see is good, but that is elementary. You know, the greater thing, what is greater than coming there to see, is the ability to see in your mind. That thing that they are experiencing, I've seen it in my mind, my eyes. That poverty, I can see it. That lack of electricity, I can see it. I don't live it, but I can see it. But it's also primitive to just see that. What is more important to see is the way forward, the way out of it, the solution. And that is not written anywhere. That is not obvious anywhere. It's not something you see. It's not standing somewhere. It's not a monument somewhere. It's not a building somewhere. So you can't see a solution like you see a building. You can't see answers like you see electricity pole. Because the physical eye is not capable of seeing things like that. It's only sight that can give you that. Insight, foresight. That's what we're talking about. So the solution to the problem of Nigeria requires and demands not physical eyes, but the mental eyes that we call foresight or insight. That's why we have 100 million or 200 million people in Nigeria, and we're in confusion. Nobody seems to know how to lead the country or how to resolve the problem of the country. Why? Because all of them have eyes. Most Nigerians that are in Nigeria have eyes. But why are they not bringing solution? Because solution is not something physical that is under the power of physical eyes. Solution now belongs to those people who are able to see mentally through insight and foresight. So if you need to choose between your physical eyes and foresight, which one will you choose? And insight and mental sight. If you need to choose between eyes and sight, what will you choose? I guess you will choose eyes, because you are used to seeing that. You are used to using your eyes. But sight is actually more powerful. Because it is through your sight, your inner eyes, that you see vision. You get vision. Vision is a function of the mind. Vision is a function not of your five senses, not of your eyes. You can have eyes but not have vision. That is why a lot of people look. Most people look through life. They just look. They look and they say, oh yeah, I see this, I see this, I see this. But they don't see. The difference between looking and seeing is the difference between eyes and sight. Eyes look, sight see. Remember that. With your eyes you look, but with your sight you see. So most people just look, but few see. Because they are so used to using their eyes, physical eyes, that they never take the time to see. No time to see. Because they have not developed the skill of using their mental eyes. Because it is true that you only see. You see, when I tell you to choose between your eyes and sight, and I say most people will choose eyes, but let me tell you something about the people who will choose to be blind but to have sight. The Bible tells us in the book of Ecclesiastes that the eyes of the wise is in his mind, in his head. So what is he talking about when Ecclesiastes said the eyes of the wise is in his head? He's talking about sight, insight, and foresight, which means the wise doesn't look at events in life through his physical eyes. The wise uses his mind to see things and to look at the reality of life. That is why the Bible also tells us that a house is built by wisdom. What does that mean? It means, and then it's established. So establishing is when you put the bricks together. But before something is really built with understanding, with building, wisdom first built it. So how does wisdom build it? Because wisdom uses his mental eyes to see the building before it came to be built. So before this building is constructed, somebody has seen it and he was able to draw it and put it down. That is wisdom sees. And that is sight, the inner sight. So the fact that you have eyes is a function of birth. But for you to have sight is a function of wisdom. So for you to really be able to say you have sight, you've got to work on yourself. You've got to develop yourself. You've got to develop wisdom. So too many people are walking around with eyes, but they don't have sight. A lot of people, all these people, they have eyes and they look with their eyes, but they don't see. Because there is a difference between eyes and sight. And that's what makes a leader to be a leader. What God has, what your body, your eyes give you is to look. But what you give yourself through hard work, through wisdom, is the ability to see. And you can only become not what you look at. You can only become what you see. You only become not what your physical eyes acknowledges, but what your mental mind acknowledges. So vision makes the person, and vision is the function of the of a force of sight, of insight, of foresight, and it is the vision that makes you who you are. My people perish for lack of vision. You don't have vision with physical eyes. You have vision with mental eyes, with sight. Unfortunately, too many people, we have not trained ourselves to operate on the level of sight. We have not trained ourselves to live and walk by vision. But we walk by what we see, by sight. No, we don't walk by, we walk by what we see, by physical eyes, rather than by invisible eyes, by sight, not by faith, not by sight, like the Bible says. So when the Bible says we walk by faith, that is what it's talking about. Faith is in the dimension of foresight. Faith is in the dimension of insight, foresight. But why physical seeing, sight, what we say we don't walk by sight, that's talking about eyes. We don't walk by what we see. But when I'm talking about sight here, I'm talking about the insight, the mental sight, the things that you don't see, the wisdom sight. I'm going to continue about this. I'm going to continue on this topic tomorrow, but I'm sure my time is over for now. And I just needed to describe for you what foresight is and why it is important for a leader to have foresight, because that's what gives him the edge, and that's what makes you to be superior and to be able to lead people who follow you, because you have understanding of what people don't see. Most people just operate by what they see, but a leader sees something that all other people are not seeing around it. So thank you so much for being with me today. Can you please go and share the message? Share. And if you want to get my books, you can go and read them on Amazon, on Kindle Unlimited. And if you want to buy them, you can buy them on Amazon as well. But if you want to buy in bulk and you want to buy them cheaper than on Amazon, then you need to write to my office by writing to dssbooks@gmail.com, dssbooks@gmail.com. And for those of you who want to receive our messages every day so that you don't spend your data on the internet, then you can send your telephone numbers to us. Send it to +38 098 596 3838 098 38098 596 3838. So we'll see you tomorrow. And if you want to come to Ukraine, you just write to hmt@godembassy.org if you want to attend the History Makers training. Or you can just write to guest@godembassy.org. And if you have not yet joined the mentorship program, go ahead and look for sundayadelajablog.com/mentorship. sundayadelajablog.com/mentorship. Thank you so much, everyone. See you tomorrow. Peace. How were you able to come out of the vicious circle?
Which one, Pastor?
The idea of being a woman, sitting down with children, taking care of your husband.
Yes, okay, because that is also from the training that I got here. Because I came to face I came to know that I am responsible to whatever happens around me, and God has put such gifts in me. That those gifts are not for me and my family alone. Those gifts is to change the world, is to help to transform the world. So based on that, I realized, yes, that all these gifts are not in me, only for my family. So I could go forth, and there is fulfillment.
So you're not looking at all the little problems like money, where do I take that from, how will I put the kids and all that. You are able to rise above that, right?
Yes. Able to rise above that, because this is our first calling that God has given unto us.
True.
He says we are to seek first His kingdom and His righteousness.
That is true.
And
that
He
is
will
the
add
first
all
calling.
the rest.
I like the way you put it. That is our first
that's
calling.
Our first calling.
Seek first the kingdom of God. That's the first calling.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Well put.
So if I can seek first His kingdom, He will add all. He will take care of all these little things,
Brilliant, brilliant, excellent.
And I've seen it, because as I go forth helping other people, I feel fulfilled myself, I think I'm now beginning to live again, yes.
Now, you are originally from Ghana.
I'm from Ghana.
So you actually have the potential to impact both Belgium and Ghana as well.
Yes, I have both.
All right, and then you're originally from Nigeria,
Yes.
so you have the potential to influence not just England, but Nigeria as well,
And other countries.
and other countries. And you are originally from US,
US.
so you have. I'm sure you don't. You're from Atlanta, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you don't just know people in Atlanta.
Right. I'm from US. I'm originally, my birthplace is North Carolina.
Okay.
I live in Atlanta now, but came to Atlanta from Boston.
So you still know people. Oh, you know both North Carolina, Boston, Atlanta, right?
Yes. And then I interact with, my heart passion is global evangelism and missions. So I interact with a lot of international pastors and or ministries and have been abroad before.
But
in
why
missions.
will you think that History Makers training that you've been through and you are going through right now
Mhm.
is helpful for the body to you?
Because
Why do you think, out of all what you've seen
Mhm.
and you heard, you probably listen to a number of ministers as well in your life?
Mhm. From all over the world. But the difference is, while they might be able to declare a message, you not only declare the message, but you have a process in place.
I see. The
And
systems.
not only, the process and the systems, and it's, you very clearly articulate it. Some ministries, I would say there are some ministries that they give you the execution piece on some level, but it's a little bit more superficial. It's not really empowering the individual. It may empower you to a point to do what they want within that realm, but now to make you believe that you're empowered to go change nations, to become a savior to a people or a land is very different.
Brilliant. I like the way you
And
put
so
it.
what you're not in any way intimidated by whatever vision God has given to any of us,
Mhm.
because it's not going to affect the vision you have. In fact, we're going to help to you reach your vision
Mhm.
more, because of it's just an extension.
Yes.
And so the other thing is that a lot of other leaders within their own parameter, whether it's within the four walls of the church, that's kind of where it's been localized there. They haven't really looked. I'm not saying that there are no ministries that haven't looked outside, but I'm saying overall, when we consider the overall church, we've done less of a job of that. I have the benefit of also.
You're talking about coming out of the four walls of the church for the rest of the church, or for the rest of the world, or for all spheres of society.
All spheres of society. I've worked in corporate America in sales and consulting previously. So organizations also need to be transformed. Many of them are very siloed, just like churches. Churches are denominational. Everybody gets in their own little group. In corporations, it's the same thing. They look at things in many respects just siloed, one functional area, but you have a lot of duplication and inefficiency. So those organizations also need to be transformed.
They need transformation.
In like kind, you have leaders within organizations that are very similar, where they can be hierarchical. They are more, they lead by coercion as opposed to really inspiring people or motivating them. And it's because of their own insecurities and whatnot. So they're concerned about their little bitty area.
Yeah,
and
they're still in the four walls.
Correct, still in the four walls. And there hasn't always been the emphasis on character. I think the training for history makers is more comprehensive. It addresses every facet. You're calling the whole man of us to come alive.
Brilliant.
It's not one facet of it that you're saying, no, you're going to need all these pieces need to be working together. And like I think somebody said it before, you're very clear that life is predictable. So if you're not succeeding, it's by choice. Either you don't know something, or you have not been willing to pay the price. You're not applying what you know, or you have violated it. And I think that's one of the things I really love about you. I heard you initially on TBN. I was in another room, and the authority with which you spoke made me come out of the room to say, "Who is that?"
Okay, you are not even looking at the program.
I wasn't even looking at it when I first heard
You
it.
are only hearing the voice.
Correct. And then I later ran into you. I think you did
You
the
came to
leadership
watch the
training.
program,
No, I wasn't at TBN.
so you only heard.
I was somewhere, maybe not even at my own residence, but I heard your voice, and there was this, and I ran in, you were small in stature, but there was this bouncing
Energy.
around full of energy, very much alive, and it's the passion you have.
Yeah.
The passion that you have says this person is serious. They know what they're talking about. This person is not joking around. They're not just talking something.
So
but
you
not
could
walking.
sense that from
Yes.
TV?
Yes,
Yeah.
from TV. And then you did a leadership training, and you're
In
very
Atlanta.
forthright. Yes, you're very forthright, and you were hitting.
But that
the mark.
offends people.
Yeah, but you were saying things that other leaders would not say openly.
But that's
And you
why,
were
because
saying
they don't
it's
want to
a leader.
offend people though.
Correct.
But
So
why should that attract you?
the boldness that you had, the boldness and your willingness to not compromise. It didn't matter. You weren't willing to do it. And then the Synergize conference, the church shift book, the releasing of that. But here were these leaders from all over the world that came to this event. And these were leaders I had, in some cases, I knew of them. Some leaders I had seen or heard on television, but I knew had international
Influence.
impact,
Mhm.
influence. And they were here, and I probably won't ever forget it.
That was in
one of the-
Atlanta, right?
Yes, one of the sessions you did. Here were a group of leaders down at the altar.
I mean,
Not
these were
because they were
leaders who
asked.
were internationally renowned.
Yes,
These were
international.
who were successful, big time successful in their own class,
Yes.
in their own
Yes, and from all nations, probably maybe
40 countries.
yeah, and they were, the word that was coming through your mouth provoked them, drew them to the altar willingly. They were bowed down, repenting before God. So they were confronting
Some of
the
them
truth
were
and
crying.
breaking- yes, they were weeping actually. And so I think the other thing, there's a consistency there, and it's like there's always results. I see the fruitfulness
I
in your
see.
own life.
So you saw results and fruitfulness.
Yes, yes. And it was inspiring other people. These were people that came from, like I said, they came from other countries.
And many different denominations as well.
Yes. And that was the thing that I liked, because it sounded like the message that I was reading about in the Bible. And that I was reading that the early disciples were doing. And it was breaking down completely barriers. There were no longer denominational walls. There were people of all races, gender, no problem. There were women, men, there was young and old there. And it captured, I saw a transformation happening there, and I saw people being inspired to now go transform. They were willing to do it. And so I think as time progressed, although I knew I was doing some things, I had some, I was like, there's an inconsistency here. And so the History Makers training for me has helped identify. It's making me hold myself accountable more and helping me to fill in the gaps where I had information or knowledge missing, so that I would know now what to do. It also provided a network of like-minded people who are on a track to do what God has purposed, who know it and they are doing it. Because otherwise you can be with some people, if you're not careful, you'll be beside naysayers or people who are settling for mediocrity. And I don't want to live a mediocre life. I don't think that's what we're purposed to do. I want to excel. And so the people here in Ukraine, everyone that I've heard talk, everyone, not just one person, hasn't been here, maybe 3 more people down. No, everyone. They've maintained that same kind of fervor and passion. And they don't blink their eye. They're serious about what they're doing. So I think that's helpful. When I left the History Makers training, the last time, we actually stopped in D.C. at the International Justice Mission.
But will you really say, have you ever thought about it? Is that the wisdom of God? That why would you need to travel so far to Ukraine of all places?
Well, I'm a person of courage. If it's not where I am, I'm willing to go to where it is. If God.
But why would God place a thing like that in a hidden place, like Ukraine?
Well, it's hidden in some respects, but to be frankly honest, people all over the world are talking about what's happening in Ukraine. So
that's interesting.
In fact, I mean, people that are not from the Ukraine have told me things that have happened here at the Ukraine, and they are saying, "Have you been to the Ukraine?"
I see.
And I found myself saying, "I haven't been yet. I have heard Pastor Sunday. Oh, I desire to go." And so it's like, okay, the opportunity presented itself, and.
If you have been watching our videos and maybe you enjoy them, maybe you don't enjoy them, but still, we need you to help us spread the word. And for that to happen, we only need you to take 5 little steps. Please help us spread this word by liking the video. Then, if you have not yet subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We also need you to press the notification button, and the way to do that is to click on the bell. You see the bell there? Click on it. Then, of course, leave your comments. Let's know what you're thinking about each video. And finally, we need you to go and share the word. Share this video on your Facebook timeline, on your Instagram, and every other platform that you have. All right? Let's win the world for Christ. Thank you so much. Peace.